I think, frankly, there's good reason to be in mourning today about the passing of the digital giant Skype. Once the undisputed leader of online communication, its name has been synonymous with video calls and predates Zoom, FaceTime, or the dreadful, diabolical, miserable Microsoft Teams, which keeps cutting out. Uh, Yet, as of this May, Skype will cease to exist. Its services folded into Microsoft Teams platform. And with this announcement, I suppose we bid farewell to a form of communication that once revolutionized how we connected across the globe. It was launched in 2003 by Scandinavian entrepreneurs Niklas Zenström and Janus Friis, and it was a game changer. And I was there right at the beginning. It allowed users to make voice and video calls over the internet for free, bypassing the expensive tariffs of traditional telecom providers. Its popularity skyrocketed, and by 2011, Microsoft acquired it for an eye-watering $8.5 billion, a testimony to its dominance in digital communication. At its peak, Skype boasted 500 million users, making it the go-to platform for personal and professional interaction. I was introduced to it by a fellow who organised English lessons and wanted me to teach a number of students. And I had one student in particular who I kept for 10 or 11 years. I knew him when he was 7 or 8 years old, and we continued doing lessons every Saturday. It was delightful. And so I think of Skype very much with reference to that particular student. Early on in its success, and it was sort of having to negotiate this strange new medium. I think in late 2003, early 2004, and Skype's downfall has not been a sudden event, but the slow, steady decline caused by several factors. The rise of competitors like WhatsApp, which I don't particularly care for, Facebook Messenger, FaceTime, and Zoom. I sort of like out of those I like Zoom the best, but Zoom requires setting it up, and rather like the Facebook, the what's it called, the Microsoft Face, is it Microsoft FaceTime, the Microsoft Teams platform. I so hate it, so hate it. And one of the reasons I believe it's used by businesses is because you don't have an automatic record of what's been said, which makes it, from my point of view, a bit of a disaster, because I can't remember when I have a meeting with someone, and Skype always had that wonderful record. So unlike Skype, which struggled to shed its desktop first identity, these second-rate apps have seamlessly integrated into users' daily lives, and I'm afraid I'm still very desktop focused. I hate using this thing. And now I find banks and various things don't have the desktop option. Microsoft's 2017 redesign of Skype alienated many users by mimicking Snapchat, which I've never played around with disappearing messages and an overly complex interface. The company frustrated its core user base, that's me, who simply wanted a reliable video calling tool. And one might have assumed that COVID-19 and the lockdowns then, which forced millions into remote communication, would have resurrected Skype's fortunes. Instead, it accelerated its decline, mostly because Zoom emerged as the primary platform for remote work, classrooms and virtual gatherings, while Microsoft Teams secured its dominance in the corporate sector. And the writing, therefore, was on the wall when Microsoft made Teams the default communication tool in Windows 11, and Skype, once considered a jewel in the Microsoft crown, was quietly sidelined. Skype's closure marks not just the end of an application, but the conclusion of an era. Microsoft is urging users to migrate to Teams, where they can retain their contacts and their chat history, and during the transition, Skype and Teams users will be able to communicate across platforms, easing the switch. For those of us still clinging to Skype, exporting chat history and data will be crucial before May 2025, and paid features like Skype credit and international calling subscriptions will no longer be available to new customers, though existing ones can continue using these until their renewal period ends. I don't really understand what that means. So you have to go over to Teams and then you can keep using your subscription. While Skype will soon join the digital graveyard alongside MSN Messenger, Google Hangouts, and Yahoo Messenger, its impact on modern communication is undeniable. It was the platform that introduced many of us to the concept of video calls, and it helped bridge global divides at a time when international calling was prohibitively expensive. Skype's fate serves as a cautionary tale for tech giants. Dominance today doesn't guarantee survival tomorrow. Innovation must be continuous, user experience must be prioritized, and competition must be acknowledged. And the very company that acquired Skype for billions has now orchestrated its demise, proving that in the fast-moving world of technology, nothing is sacred. So I personally bid a very fond farewell to Skype, the app, I hate using that word as well, that connected families, facilitated remote work before it was mainstream, and even enabled a generation of prank callers to unsuspecting landlines. It may be leaving us, but its legacy remains etched in the history of digital communication. And rest in peace, Skype. You were once the future, and now sadly you are history, but you will always be a treasure to me.